Damn, that was crazy. That was a good time. Every time I go train, it just I feel so much better afterward, it feels good. It feels good to like let all that energy out, box, spar. They paired me up with one of the girls there that was there for a while, and she was pretty good. She was pretty good at controlling herself and throwing shit. She caught me quite a few times. But I had a good time, man. It was good. Test for Streamer University? Nah, they wouldn't accept me. Oh god. Can you hear me? Check, check, check. Let me see if my fucking mic's on the right channel. Okay, it is. Check, check, check. Alright, we're good. Yeah, I was sparring times on the fucking chin. I got pissed off, and so I was throwing heavy like fucking punches her way, and one of the coaches came over. One of the dudes was like, "He's like, I know you're getting mad, bro, but you gotta control those emotions." Because he was like, you gotta like control it, or else you're gonna be like all off your stance. I was like, all right, you look different. Did you do something to your stash? No, it just grew out more. Oh man. Yeah, so I was boxing for like an hour with all like the professional boxers. It was good. That was fucking dude. It was so fucking good. Every time I go, I always feel better afterward. I get like every time I go to the boxing gym, the Muay Thai gym, it feels so good. Like after you wrestle and spar, you feel like your spirit just feels more light. I don't know how to explain it, but after like wrestling dudes, boxing, like it just feels good. I like it makes me feel like I can fly or something. I don't know. Like I love it. Like it's like an addiction. Like getting punched and wrestling and going until you're like beyond exhausted. Like it just feels so good. Like when you're like out of breath, you're just exhausted. You're sweating, dude. Look at my shirt. Look at this shit. This is all fucking sweat. There's not even one spot in this thing that isn't wet, bro. Look at that shit. All dark, wet, fucking drenched. Fuck. I should shave again. I think I should trim my mustache. I feel like it's getting too big. I should do like I should like shave it like at the brim right here with the lip. But yeah, no, that chick put in good work. She was really good. Who's that chick you told me to text? Don't even worry about it. I'm over those girls. Oh fuck. I should shave my fucking 5 o'clock shadow. Now I gotta do an annotated bibliography, bro. Fuck. Like when the girl came over to spar with me, she was being like all cutesy. She's like, "Oh, no kicking." And then I'm thinking, "Oh, this chick's gonna be like light," and no, but she was actually trying to fucking throw some fucking shit my way. I was like, "Okay, all right." It's like this is my second week, and you're already trying to fucking bop me in the fucking head a few times. So I'm like, all right, I gotta fucking go at this chick. Did you finally get laid or something? You were so happy? No. If I got laid, I'd be more depressed. No, bro. I'm happy because I just, when you do work like that, when you exercise and you fucking just are training, it feels good, you know? Like fighting, wrestling, there's nothing else like it, you know? It just feels so good to get physical with someone or just like train combat sports. It feels like nothing else, you know? It feels like there's like no other experience to it. There really isn't. It just feels so good. Even when you get hit in the head or like you get like put in a submission hold, it just feels like you're really experiencing life, you know? Oh man. Fuck. I'm gonna go back tomorrow again at 11 a.m. Do some more of that shit. Tomorrow's Friday. Yep. Oh no, I can't tomorrow because I have work at 12. Fuck. All right. Well, whatever. I'll try to go on Saturday at 9 and then 10 a.m. for the Muay Thai. And then afterward, you're fucking like your elbows, your hands, like your neck, everything is like sore. Like this morning, yesterday, after I did I was doing some wrestling matches, like four guys. The fucking the morning after, my fucking whole neck was like tense. It still kind of is right here. Like my traps are fucking sore still. Fuck. I should. It was good, man. It was good, good. One of the guys who was like personally training me over there said he had a fight tonight. I wonder where that's gonna be at. I'd go. I probably should have asked him. Damn, that's brutal, dude. It's great. There's real. I kind of there's a part I kind of wish like I could go even harder, you know. But like I'm still too early. I still gotta keep fucking training. You know, I still gotta get like better. It's only my like second week, so I gotta get fucking like the guys in there have been doing that shit for like a long ass time. Like they got a whole like group of guys that are like going like to like different states doing that shit boxing. So fuck. Oh, oh man. Oh, my arms are sore. Damn. I'm not gonna be able to do any training tomorrow, but I'm probably gonna still hit the gym. Gonna do chest day. Oh fuck. Oh. There's nothing else like it, man. There really isn't. It's just there really isn't anything like it. If you did yoga, it wouldn't hurt. Oh no, bro. I stretch. Are you kidding me? I fucking stretch all the time. I feel like this mustache is too much though. This mustache is too fucking thick now. I look like a fucking taxi driver. The fuck? Oh. So is sparring like on a mat? It's full body, or is it only boxing? It's like you're fighting. You're there's it's just you're on the mat and you're just fucking going at it. Body shots, head shots. I love it. I love it. I really do. I fucking love it. I love this shit. This Monday, what is my work schedule like? I really can't get enough of this shit. All right. Yeah, ooh, I do have Monday off. All right, sick. So this Monday I can go in and try to do some judo at this other gym. I can do a drop in for $15 and learn some fucking judo throws and use your legs. There's no kicking, but yeah, you use your fucking legs to for power. That would be Muay Thai. Whoa, dude, it really is like it's like you're on a different world, man. I would recommend everyone try it. Just try fucking boxing or wrestling or something or some kind of contact sport, combat. You know, because it's like exhilarating. I know exactly how you feel. How you feel though. It hurts so good. Not even like not in a masochistic way, but like in a just a It's where you know you did like good work and your body just feels it just feels like it's on a different like planet, you know? Like exhausted. That's how you want to feel. Like you don't want to feel like you didn't do shit, you know? It just feels so good. Oh man. Oh god. Fuck. Ah. Oh, dude. Fuck. Fuck me. Oh, fuck. Oh, 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 God. I'm being dramatic now, but I don't know what to say. No, you do Muay Thai. So it's the gym I go to does Muay Thai, boxing, and MMA. So we do like everything. I do a little bit of everything. So in the class tonight I did boxing. Yesterday I did MMA and Muay Thai. So I did wrestling and I did Muay Thai pads, and then today I did sparring, and then just like hitting the bag. Bro, stop moaning. Dude. Oh. Yo, it's I don't know how fucking pro fighters like they got to be fucking in pain all the time, bro. I'm talking to my mom right now. Any girls in your class? There's actually a few. There's like a ginger girl that's been there for a while that does the boxing and Muay Thai, and then there's another girl in the wrestling MMA class. The girl in the wrestling class tried to wrestle with me, but the coach was putting a kibosh on it. Oh, fuck. Do they teach you or do they expect you to know everything? They were teaching. So the pro hour is, well, this is what happened. So I was supposed to go to the Muay Thai second class tonight, but there wasn't one. It got canceled. So they just threw me into like the professional hour, which is where all like the pro boxers are fighting. And they kind of expect you to know more in the pro hour. So I was just doing, it was just drills. So it was just like, you know, do body shots, and then it was like more hardcore conditioning. So I got with a partner. I would duck, hit him in the stomach. I go up, try to punch the fucking air while he goes down and punches my stomach, and then we would just go back and forth. That's what we did for like a good like solid 10 minutes or like 5 minutes. I don't know the fucking time limit. And then we would punch the bag, throw some jabs, block, and then we would just go into sparring. But the pro hour was just, it was just that, it was just like, to me it was like hazing. That's how it kind of felt. It felt like it was hazing me. I loved it though. Fuck it. I have a good time doing that shit. So it felt like it really did feel like fuck, bro. They're like, he was like, we are conditioning your stomach to handle those punches. So when you fucking medium punches to the stomach. So this guy was just fucking hitting me hard in my stomach. Like I reflexively wanted to block it, but he didn't want us to block it. He wanted us to like stand up straight and then punch up and then have the second guy go down and punch us in the stomach and then just go back and forth. So one of the coach girls was crying afterward. So I don't know what the fuck happened there. I don't know if someone knocked her fucking block off, but yeah, one of the coach women I noticed after the class was like sitting on the fucking seat, just like sobbing while another girl comforted her. I was like, damn, did she get fucking knocked? Like, what the fuck happened? They don't give you a pad for your stomach? Nah. We were just, they want, because like in a real boxing match, you don't have a pad for your stomach, bro. That's why they're saying they're conditioning your abs because you want to like flex them when they're hitting you in the stomach. Like you're gonna get hit. So that's why they're like, oh, just tense your fucking stomach and then just hit. It's fucking brutal, but that's the pro hour. It's more conditioning, more heavy hitting, and it was honestly better for me to do that because it felt like I was really like getting into the thick of it, you know? I was like nervous at first, and whenever you feel like nervous about something, that means you should do it. You know, that's where God is. That's where the light is. It's where like wherever you feel anxiety or like nervousness is what you where you should go and what you should do, in my opinion. And I was nervous at the start of the fucking class because it was like a pro hour class. I didn't know what the fuck was gonna happen, but I got through it. I got fucking hit a few times in the head. Fucking punched fucking guy, punched the girl, punched the bag, fucking was exhausted by the end of it, sitting in the fucking chair, and now I feel like $1,000,000. So I hope that girl's okay, cause I did hit her pretty hard. I think. I hope I didn't hit her too hard. Cause I did get I did get mad as fuck because she caught me right here. She caught me a few times, and that pissed me off. So I went back and I just fucking started jabbing her in the fucking head. I hit her with a cross right in the like her fucking forehead, and I was like, and her face got all pink. And I was like, ooh, well, yo, what's up, Tiny Tim? What were you saying? Oh, I just got done sparring at the gym. It was really fun. I had a really good time. I think tomorrow is gonna be a good day for resting now because I did 2 days in a row. I did MMA the other night, and then tonight I did boxing. So I did wrestling yesterday with four different fucking guys, and then I did fucking sparring with two people today. One was a girl, the other was a guy, and then fuck, dude, I can't even talk. I'm so like, oh god, you don't even want to do anything afterward. It's just like you want to fucking nap. You know, I need to take some creatine. Give me a second. Fuck, dude. Creatine's supposed to be very protective for your head, your brain health. So you need to take some of that. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, bro. But this is combat sports. Oh god. What if you get beat by a girl? Well, you can't get beat in sparring. Sparring is it's just training. It's like practice runs. Good. Oh. Guys, fuck this streaming shit. Ugh. fuck do I want to do right now? I should do the homework. I'll do that at 9:30 and then I'll go to bed at 10:30. That's the plan.
Thank you very much, guys, and Connor, thank you very much for doing this. Can you describe the emotions after a loss like that?
You know, it stings real bad, but this is the fight business. I've been on the end of many defeats in my life, and I've rose back, so I will not shy away from it. I will not make excuses for it. I will assess it and then come back.
I know it's still very fresh, but in hindsight, do you feel like
You forgot to ask how am I? I'm okay. Could be better, bro. I'm about to be fucking hitting the fucking sack soon in an hour. Fucking burned all my fucking calories today in the last fucking hour.
Jackson Pollock cheated on his wife and then died while drunk driving and crashing into a tree, killing a young woman. Born and raised in Oklahoma, but a young artist looking for something more, he moved off to New York City, accompanied by his friend Philip Guston. The two were young, rough and tumble boys coming out of the Great Depression who were interested in communism, counterculture, and fine art. While Pollock's friends and mentors were interested in politics, he was more interested in psychology. The man suffered greatly from alcoholism, extreme bouts of rage and manic depression, and his friends and family were deeply concerned with him, so he was put into psychological treatment with a psychoanalyst. It was during this time that he developed an interest in Jungian psychology and Eastern philosophy. Inspired by Native American artists and Mexican muralist David Siqueiros, Pollock began painting on the ground with a splatter paint drip method with industrial paints, pigments, and more. This was a method directly taught to him by Siqueiros. Pollock's career developed rapidly as he immersed himself in the bourgeois art world culture of New York City. He eventually met famous socialite and art collector Peggy Guggenheim, who would become his greatest champion. She brought him into her gallery, showed his art all over the world, and introduced him to tons and tons of collectors. This gave Jackson Pollock mad loot. It was also during this time that he developed his relationship with notable famous artist Lee Krasner, another abstract expressionist. It's worth noting that many credit Pollock's success with funding from the CIA. It's no secret that a lot of creepy and crazy stuff happened during the Cold War. For example, the Soviet Union, USSR, was funding the creation of cultural soft power in their nation through genres like Soviet realism, through chess, through a lot of different things. America had to come up to it with a response to that, so they dumped a ton of money into promoting and championing abstract expressions.
Do you wear
like
any
Jackson
other pair of
Pollock.
shorts?
Unfortunately
No.
for the government, for the soft power, for the culture, for the art world, Jackson Pollock was not a good art world champion as his alcoholism continued to develop. He had some periods of sobriety where he was doing good, his marriage to Lee Krasner was okay, but things got really bad when he started having affairs with younger women. Lee Krasner eventually went on some kind of sabbatical in Europe to get away from Jackson and try to get some space and repair the relationship, but Jackson kept drinking and binging and hanging out with whatever paramour he was with, and eventually on one fateful night, he was driving drunk with his paramour and with her friend in the back. They crashed into a tree outside of the property that his art studio in the country was on, and he passed away. I don't believe his mistress passed away. I think that her friend did. I wish I could fact check that, but I'm in the middle of the damn country right now with no service, so I'm doing all this from memory. Sorry if I got some stuff wrong. In his day, Jackson Pollock was seen as a revolutionary thinker and a boundary-pushing artist, but now he's seen as kind of a jackass, failing upwards white guy who made easy art that anybody could make. For all my criticisms of Jackson Pollock, the man, I am intrigued by Jackson Pollock, the artist. So what do you think? Did I miss anything? Did I leave anything out? Are you a hater of Jackson Pollock? Tell me down below. Let's talk. If you like... this kind of content.
That's life.
That's life.
That's what all the people say. You're riding high in April, shot down in May. But I know I'm gonna change that tune. That's life.
That's life.
That's what all the people say. And why am I here? I'm here because
He asked me how tall I was. I let him know. He asked me to stand up, and I did. And I knew at that point by the size of him.
And why am I here? I'm here because
Erica Kirk.
He calls the song of the summer.
Mitchell, shut the fuck up.
What did you want for the game? Oh, they're $1 each. Did you even think about maybe just...
What does the other side of greatness look like? Is it this? Or this? Or is it this?
BJ Penn's UFC career is over.
BJ Penn is considered by many to be one of the greatest fighters of all time.
BJ Penn will go down in history as without a doubt one of the greatest of all time.
But now we see what awaits these legends on the other side of eminence.
Former UFC star BJ Penn was arrested yesterday for the third time in 6 days.
This video will explore the legendary career of BJ Penn, the highs, the lows, and the heartbreak.
BJ Penn was born to fight, man. That's what...
Bro, look at my... Where the fuck... How did I get these scratches on my arm? What the fuck? Just random fucking marks over my body. It's gonna be a good sleep tonight.
that kid was put on this earth to
yeah,
do.
one of the best ever.
UFC champion BJ Penn has been arrested for DUI.
Fighting really is my whole life. It really is.
He's as legit and as badass and as real a fighter as you will ever meet in your life. I get goosebumps talking about it.
Before there was an MMA prodigy, there was a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu one.
BJ Penn got his black belt in 3 years.
One of the only Americans ever to go win
the black belt world championships in Brazil, the Mundials.
You have like one of the craziest records of all time.
For people that don't understand how crazy that is, first of all, it's crazy to be able to get your black belt in 3 years. Then to win the Mundials as a black belt, there's only one guy that ever did that. That's BJ Penn.
People ask me, they say, how did you get a black belt in 3 years? Was it desire? Was it the dedication? Was it drive? And I always look at him and say, no, it was fun.
How old were you when you started?
17.
At 17, in 1996, Penn was introduced to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu by a neighbor who had recently begun training under the Gracie family.
He choked me out and he arm locked me, and then right there my mind started going, so I was like, man, with this, I could beat up everybody in Hilo. I'll rule Hilo, you know what I mean?
Penn was immediately hooked by the technical depth and effectiveness of BJJ.
And then I ended up competing in my first tournament, that I tapped out everybody.
His ability to absorb techniques, combined with an aggressive, adaptable style, allowed him to dominate opponents in training and in local tournaments. Starting as a white belt in 1996, Penn earned his blue, purple, and brown belts at an unprecedented pace.
I started going up the belt ranks pretty quick. I went blue belt, purple belt. So in one world championships, I fought blue belt, and then the next world championships, I fought brown belt. And it was just, that's kind of unheard of, because usually you go blue, then purple, then brown.
Penn's progression in BJJ was nothing short of extraordinary. Penn displayed an uncanny aptitude for grappling.
BJ started being very successful. He won a lot of tournaments. He was pretty much destroying everybody on the jiu-jitsu circuit. So
John Lewis was telling Andre Pederneiras, BJ's ready to fight black belt. Let him fight black belt. I look in there and he goes, we're going to do a selection today. You beat these two guys, I give you your black belt right now, and you're going to be on A spot to go to the Mundial.
The Mundials were the Brazilian World Championships. BJ had already won it the year prior in the brown belt category, and now his legendary mentor was giving him the opportunity to promote to and enter as a black belt. BJ grabbed destiny by the horns.
I ended up getting my black belt a week before the tournament. I had to do challenge matches with 2 other black belts in front of the whole school.
And then I won my 2 matches against the 2 black belts.
Wow.
Just 3 years after beginning his BJJ journey, Penn was awarded his black belt by Andre Pederneiras, making him one of the fastest practitioners to achieve this rank in BJJ history at the time.
we're like, what's the next level? And everybody's like, you gotta go to Brazil.
I got a chance to compete in the Black Belt World Championships in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil.
So BJ jumped on a plane and headed for Rio de Janeiro.
But I remember when I was going on the plane up there, I remember one thing. I was sitting next to a lady. I said, you know what? I think I found my calling. I think I found what I'm supposed to do in life.
A couple days after he got his black belt, enters the tournament, the first match. It's a tough match. He beats the guy in points.
The next guy, real tough guy, is one of the guys we used to see on videos and try and mimic moves he does. BJ beat that guy, it was unbelievable.
When I got to the final, I was eating lunch, and you know what? That's the moment my brain just clicked in my head.
But I remember specifically telling myself before the final of the World Championship match,
You know what? You might never get in this position again.
it doesn't matter if my arm breaks or my leg breaks. I'm gonna win this match no matter what I do, because this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. I'm in the finals. And then I ended up winning the match 5-0 and becoming the first ever non-Brazilian to be the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt world champion.
The Brazilians couldn't even believe it.
I said you got a black belt in 3 years, but you also didn't just get a black belt, you won the world championships. So it's not like you just got a black belt in that time, you were the best in the world, and that's completely unheard of.
About 6 months later, around the time of UFC 31 in 2001, a friend of BJ would introduce him to the UFC top brass, including Dana White, to roll jiu-jitsu. But it was an encounter that would lead to a UFC debut with no, and I mean no, prior MMA fights.
He said, hey, I'm going to bring this young kid over and I want him to train with you. John went on to tell me that this kid was literally, I think he used the words prodigy, which ultimately became, BJ's nickname.
All I knew is that BJ Penn had come and rolled with us. He was very talented at jiu-jitsu, and we liked him, and we wanted him in the UFC.
And now, entering the octagon, this fighter's submission expert.
First fight I went to, sold out, 2,500 people, Atlantic City. I mean, that's nobody, right? Small little arena. The only reason why I'm stepping in the octagon is to be the champion. I'm gonna put him on his back and submit him. I just thought I was at the top of the world. I was like, calling home, hey, I think I'm gonna be on TV, watch, you know.
An old grappler, he's really good at submission.
Nothing compares to fighting in that octagon. The first time in there, you were fighting Joe Gilbert.
5'5", 155, lightweight. My strengths are my wrestling and my toughness.
Joey was, I don't know, he was tough. He had his thing.
And then I ended up fighting Joey Gilbert.
Yeah,
and that's
and
how I started.
you blew up in the UFC quick. I think because you were already so known from jiu-jitsu. I remember there was so much hype you came in.
There were high expectations for the BJJ world champion. The question was whether he could implement his ground game in this new frontier.
Let's go, come on. Here we go in the lightweight category.
They expected you to go in there, shoot him, take him down. Joey Gilbert had a wrestling background. No, you were one of the first jiu-jitsu guys to be like, all right, I'm gonna work my jiu-jitsu, but first I'm gonna put these hands on you. You boxed him up, you took him down, and you strangled him. Am I missing anything with that?
Well, yes, Matt, because he didn't strangle him, he beat the ever-living shit out of him.
After I fought my first fight against Joey Gilbert, I talked to Dana, and I was only 2 or 3 fights away from becoming the UFC lightweight champion. All I wanted to do was become the lightweight champion, beat Jens Pulver, and retire.
BJ may have crushed his first opponent in a dominating and unexpected way, but those 2 or 3 fights that would get him to Jens Pulver and the lightweight world title were not going to be easy. There was a tank of sharks to swim through, and the next in line was a big problem. Din Thomas was an absolute monster, 12-1 as a pro, having only lost to top lightweight prospect Cal Luno, and riding a 7-fight winning streak that included the future lightweight champion Jens Pulver. Din really did stand as the pinnacle of the division at the time, but we have to remember, BJ had only had 1 fight in MMA, and now here he was, facing across the octagon from a 13-fight veteran. BJ really was just chucked in against the walls.
Tail of the tape. This highly anticipated matchup between the 24-year-old Dean Thomas, the 22-year-old BJ Penn. Everything else is absolutely...
I had this premonition in my head. I was gonna fake the right, and he was gonna dip his head and run right into this left hook. I've been dreaming about it. I've manifested it.
Let's see what happens.
I visualized it.
Din felt that he was destined by the universe to land his left hand, but BJ had one answer for manifestations. At 2 minutes and 42 seconds into the very first round, BJ separated him from consciousness with a beautifully timed knee. The UFC had brought BJ in for his grappling prowess, but the Hawaiian native was instead cementing his early legacy in the sport with hands crafted on the violent streets of his homeland, living and breathing his ancestors' ancient warrior past. No wonder really that quickly, BJ was making a very marketable name for himself. In just 2 fights, BJ had finished 2 of the best the UFC had to offer in the lightweight division. He had proved his worth despite being so young in his career, and so the UFC put together a little title eliminator with the man who had fought for the inaugural lightweight title earlier in that year and had rebounded with an emphatic TKO win. This was it. BJ's dream was just 1 fight away. He had to make this happen. Caol Uno was at a very young age already a Japanese superstar, making a name for himself on the other side of the globe as a world champion in Shuto. He had joined the UFC with a record of 12-3-2, making his debut fighting for the inaugural lightweight title against Gents. As we know, he would fall short in this venture, but would bounce back later the same year, picking up his first UFC victory by way of knockout. This had meant that he had kept his position as the second best lightweight in the company, and so naturally, this meant if he could secure a win over BJ, he too was within touching distance of the title once more. Everything was on the line.
Lightweights, Caol Uno against BJ Penn, the winner to fight Jens Pulver for his belt.
But BJ didn't want to hang around. If you ask fighters what their favorite moment watching this sport was, many of them will say
Caol Uno, Caol Uno, Caol Uno,
Caol Uno,
Caol Uno.
Flew flying knee, boom, he knocked him out.
It was like 15-second, he squat that, knocked him out, and sprinted out of there. His work was done.
This guy is, you're gonna see him, his hands, his knees, everything is working. This is a ground guy, and he comes in and he starts knocking people out. Dude, I was a fan instantly.
At 11 seconds of the very first round, for the winner, BJ.
Caol Uno sprinted out of the gate with a flying kick that did just about as much as what you'd expect it to. BJ dodged it, and clearly inspired by this move, thought that he would deliver a speed run of his own. After squaring up for a couple seconds, BJ sprinted forward, one hook as a misdirect, then gave way for a devastating uppercut that laid Uno out on the canvas. BJ didn't stop till the ref pulled him off, landing super necessary ground and pound that froze Uno like Elsa. BJ had done it. After less than a year in the sport and 3 destructive knockout finishes, BJ had arrived at the feet of the lightweight title. The man holding it was future Hall of Famer Jens Pulver, the first ever man to call himself the lightweight world champion, and who had defended the title just once. He was also a man who had rarely seen defeat in his 14-fight career. His victories had more often than not come by way of finish. Whether he was beating you into unconsciousness or strangling the life out of you, it didn't matter. And BJ was just another would-be victim of this young star's burgeoning legacy. BJ saw it differently though. BJ wanted to run through him and make it look easy, snatch the crown, and become the youngest UFC champion of all time, and then fade into obscurity.
Is 5 rounds for the UFC Lightweight Championship of the World.
For 3 rounds, the fight was an absolute
The all-new Powerhouse Pro sunglasses by Costa. See what's out there and check out the Powerhouse Pro sunglasses from CostaDelMar.com.
barn burner, one of the best fights you can go back and watch. The first 15 minutes crescendoed when seconds before the round would come to an end, BJ grabbed a hold of Jentz's arm and ripped it back in a beautiful armbar, something that Jentz would actually tap to. But the buzzer had already sounded, meaning that the fight continued. But from here, Jentz would take over. The 5th round was a wash, and the fight had clearly slipped through the Hawaiian's fingers. BJ's dream of beating Jentz, grabbing the lightweight title, and then sailing off into the sunset were dashed against the rocks. And in his own words, if it wasn't for that loss, the BJ Penn story that we covered to this day would probably never exist.
I wanted that lightweight championship belt, and I wanted to put that thing on my dresser right next to my jiu-jitsu gold medal. And I knew that this isn't easy. If you want something, you got to work for it. And that's one thing though. I look back on that loss to Jens Pulver. Mixed martial arts wasn't done with me. If I would have won that fight, we wouldn't be sitting here right now doing this interview.
And I was still so close, I said, I might as well, I can't quit yet.
He headed back to the UFC very quickly. That would come in the form of Paul Creighton, a fellow Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, who had earned his UFC debut after stringing 3 victories together on the regional scene. The UFC pitted the two BJJ aces together, a matchup that promised an exciting ground game chess match, but that is not exactly what we got. It took 2 rounds for BJ to TKO his opponent, sliding out of the losing column and cementing himself back on the road toward the title. Paul Cretan, on the other hand, after just 4 fights in MMA and only 1 in the UFC, would never fight in the sport again, retiring after a destructive barrage from the Hawaiian. After Gents had successfully defended his title for a 3rd time, becoming one of the sport's most winningest champions of that era, Gents rightfully questioned his pay. When he faced BJ, Penn had been given 20 to show and 20 if he won, whilst Gents, the reigning champion on the other hand, had been given 13 to show, 13 to win. This led to a massive contract dispute that resulted in Gents leaving the organisation behind and heading over to the other side of the globe to fight, a move that didn't really go in his favour. This meant that the title was now vacant and ready for a new man to claim. The UFC put together a tournament, the first in over 4 years, the first leg of which was expected to take place at UFC 39. Cal Luno was to take on Din Thomas, and BJ was set up against Matt Serra. The fight, however, would end up being a complete slog. BJ would gas out in the 3rd, and Matt Serra didn't really have anything else either. The whole round was booed start to finish. BJ did walk away with the victory, but it came at the cost of some very negative fan backlash, and it was the start of a very obvious gap in BJ's training, a man who would admit that he simply didn't even train or eat properly ever, a thing that, as we will see, would plague his career until its very end. This victory, however, would give him the ticket to the title. Cal Luno had won his fight against Din, and now the two were ready to fight for the vacant title. And this is the man, by the way, that BJ had destroyed in seconds. To say he was feeling confident would be an understatement.
Take me through that fight, man. How's that gonna go?
It's gonna go just like the last one.
Tonight we're in Atlantic City. It's Carl Uno. It's BJ Penn. The lightweight belt is on the line.
But the fight again was a complete slog, an underwhelming bout of ground and clinch work that lacked divisive moments. Whilst the fight this time around did not result in continuous boos from the fans, it was a pretty lackluster performance from both men. The crowd was essentially silent the whole time. When the final buzzer had finally sounded, the commentary team were confident that BJ had walked away once again, able to call himself champion.
It looks to me as if BJ did enough in the 1st and 2nd round, and in the 4th and 5th.
But that's not what happened.
This UFC lightweight championship fight is considered a draw.
The draw had devastated BJ, saying in his autobiography that he was sick to his stomach and disgusted mentally. Many had felt that BJ had deserved the strap, Lorenzo Fertitta even stating that he would send out the belt to BJ as he did deserve it. After the controversial draw was called, the UFC made the decision to cut the lightweight division entirely. Not only would there no longer be a belt on the line in the division, but they would also no longer be putting on fights at 155 pounds altogether, meaning that BJ, if he wanted to fulfill his contract, had to move up to welterweight. With the UFC falling silent after that, BJ took matters into his own hands. His brother had made a fighting promotion out in Hawaii, a promotion called Rumble on the Rock, co-promoted by K1. Rumble on the Rock, as the name suggests, was all about putting exciting fights on the Hawaiian Islands. BJ wanted to stay at lightweight, and with the UFC not accommodating this matter, he called for Japanese legend Takanori Gomi to come over to the US and to fight him in Rumble on the Rock. Takanori had just lost his Shuto Lightweight World Championship, but until that point, he had been an undefeated submission artist. The fight, which would contest the Rumble on the Rock lightweight world title, was essentially what BJ considered to be the fight to determine the real best lightweight on the planet, seeing as the UFC had abandoned the division completely. Dana White, according to BJ's autobiography, gave his blessings for the fight to take place, as long as Penn promised to return to the UFC after. And let's just say, we as MMA fans should be grateful for this, because what was allowed to take place was an absolute barn burner.
He's the man right now, 155 pounds. He's the #1 ranked fighter in the world at 155 pounds.
At Spectrum, we believe you shouldn't have to choose between speed, reliability, and value. That's why Spectrum fiber-powered internet gives you all three for just $40 a month. Click now.
Tonight, we're going to try and prove it in front of everyone.
We got 3 minutes left in this round.
Left hand, right hand by Gomi to the side.
Both guys ran. Gomi throws the jab.
Nice single leg.
Nice.
Gomi explode. There it is. Locked it in. Magalhaes locked in. Is he gonna tap? He's gonna sleep.
BJ would finish Gomi inside 4 rounds, cementing himself as the top lightweight of the era. But as promised, he now had to head back to the UFC and fulfill his contract, and that meant moving up a weight class. BJ didn't want any old fight though. He wanted to beat the best the UFC had to offer.
So we tell Dana, of course, BJ wanting to have a challenge and wanting to have something to get excited for. And at that time, there's a person in the welterweight class, Matt Hughes, who's just destroying everybody. I think he was at that time maybe 28-1. He just was strong wrestler, farmer boy. UFC didn't have anybody to fight him all over the world. He fought everybody they could bring in and nobody could beat him. So I called up Dana White. I said, BJ wants to fight Matt Hughes. He goes, you're kidding me. I said, no, I have him right here. He wants to fight him. He says, you know what? Let's put that together. I like that fight.
You can imagine that when Dana put down the phone, he turned around to Lorenzo and was like,
He says, I want
Matt Hughes.
in Russia. Is he fucking awesome?
BJ may have had the heart of a lion, but that didn't change the fact that Matt Hughes was a monster, the current welterweight champion, and it was pretty much everyone's opinion that BJ didn't stand a chance against him, but they don't call him the prodigy for nothing.
BJ's got incredible back control. BJ looking for the choke. He's got the choke. He's done. It's over. It's over. We have a new welterweight champion. A new welterweight champion. BJ so many people doubted you going into this fight. They thought that Matt Hughes was too big. Did that help?
I remember back then after we beat Matt Hughes, looking back in lightweight and welterweight rankings, we were #1 in both of them, in welterweight and lightweight. Did anyone ever do that before?
After claiming the belt in such an incredible way, up a weight class and up against an unbelievable legend, you would think that BJ, now fulfilled in his initial purpose of becoming UFC world champion, would move on from the sport as he had promised. But, well, we all know the story didn't exactly go like that.
By the time I finally work my way back up and I fight Matt Hughes and I become the welterweight champion of the world, and at that point, I was in too deep. It was my identity. I couldn't get out after that.
Now as UFC champion, and with a fresh contract to sign, you can imagine that the UFC was ready to put their money right at the feet of this insanely young and insanely marketable MMA legend. He had plenty of tread left on the tires, and with a performance that many hailed as the greatest the sport had ever seen, all eyes were on BJ for his next performance. So Dana White must have been naturally ready to give the kid a great new contract, right? Right, guys? Anyone? The story goes like this. Whilst in contract negotiations, it would transpire that BJ had actually seen his contract end a month before he had ever even fought Matt Hughes, and so he started to negotiate outside of the UFC in order to get a fair price for his talents. K1 offered BJ $187,000 per fight if he were to leave the UFC, an incredible amount compared to the $20K he got paid to fight Hughes. Then at an airport, he bumped into one of the 250 comedians left in the world, Joe Rogan, and they discussed his contract. Upon landing on the other side of America, BJ's phone was being blown up by Dana White, who was pissed that BJ had even dared to look elsewhere, even threatening legal action, and said there would now no longer be any pay rise altogether.
Their version of the story is complete and pure.
I guess that he had forgot that the contract had already expired, and so you can imagine what happened next.
Stop!
After destroying Bas Rutten's prodigy Dwayne Ludwig, Penn would take any fight he could, and in any weight class that he could.
Judges have scored this bout 30-27. For the winner by unanimous decision, the pride of Hawaii, the prodigy, BJ
BJ may have been stripped of his title, but that didn't stop him over the course of a year, competing up and down weight classes from openweight to middleweight in Japan, showcasing his tenacity to test himself despite his size. BJ would defeat Dwayne Ludwig, Enzo Gracie, and Rodrigo Gracie, and unfortunately, drop a fight against future light heavyweight champion Lyoto Machida. His Asian expedition was exciting to say the least. After this, an ongoing legal process with the UFC had come to an end with regards to BJ's contract, but it was ruled in favor of the UFC top dogs. But it did give an opportunity for Dana and Penn to sit down and hash things out.
And it kind of...
Get ready to rise with more shine. Discover the Sealy Posturepedic collection at Ashley, featuring precision fit coils, arranged right where you need them for targeted support night after night. Sealy at Ashley. Wake up to what's next.
Came to the point where we're sitting down and we're like, you know what, Dana, let's just put this thing back together. So Dana's like, these are the rules, these are the steps, let's sign the contract right now. We're gonna announce that BJ's back in the UFC tomorrow night, one of our biggest UFCs.
I think that our 170-pound division is probably one of the most exciting divisions in the world, and I just signed a guy who's gonna make it even more exciting. Check out the new welterweight I just signed.
BJ was brought back into the fold, and his return match was against GSP, a man on his second run in the UFC after falling short to Matt Hughes. This fight was booked as a title eliminator, the winner of which would be granted a shot at Hughes once more, who in BJ's absence had reclaimed the welterweight strap. But the fight didn't go as expected. Over the course of 3 rounds, BJ again gassed out as his ground game had been completely nullified by George, who sat heavy on the Hawaiian and wilted him down with top pressure. The victory was ultimately declared as a split decision, as BJ had pieced up the Canadian on the feet, completely destroying his face. On rewatching the fight though, I think that it was a pretty clean victory for GSP, but back then, many had felt that it was a robbery, particularly because GSP looked like he had gone 3 rounds with a swarm of hornets. The result didn't sit well with BJ, who fell into a pretty dark place.
After the St. Pierre fight, I fell into a pretty deep depression because I hadn't really lost a fight for a little while and stuff, and then so I was still same thing I did before the St. Pierre fight. I did right after the St. Pierre fight. Went to the bar, hung out, you know, with all my friends, and did exactly the same stuff.
And sometimes, at our lowest moments, the universe steps in to pick us back up.
JD calls me one day and he says, St. Pierre tore his ACL, he hurt his knee. You're it, you got the shot, you're in. You versus Matt Hughes. First thing came to my head. This is destiny because St. Pierre didn't win that fight. I remember driving down the bayfront right here, kind of looking out to the beach, looking out to the ocean, and kind of was almost like kind of tearing and thinking, I'm going to be the world champ again.
However, the fight was at extremely short notice, and according to his autobiography, BJ would only train for less than 2 weeks, which isn't saying much when the man barely trained anyway, and this really showed in the fight. For the first time in his entire career, BJ would be finished inside of the cage.
It was the first time in my career that I got finished. I just lost 2 fights. Everybody must be thinking my career's done. I was even questioning what now, and the depression just got worse.
But sometimes we need the darkness so that the light can shine brighter.
We were continually having to try to convince BJ to stay on a path. In our path, we said, look, for you to become a legend, it's not going to be you stepping up a weight and fighting a Lyoto Machida or fighting somebody bigger than you or doing all those other things. Focus on the 155-pound division and clean it out.
With a new trainer and a new focus, BJ would return to the fight game, and this time it was to prove a point.
I'm not going to be one of those guys who shoulda, coulda, woulda, been great. I was going to do it.
In a rather symbolic way, BJ's return not only physically, but mentally as well to the sport, was in the form of a rematch against the first man ever to beat him, the man responsible for giving us the fully realized BJ Penn story, Jens Pulver. This fight would be built up through a season of The Ultimate Fighter, where the pair act as opposing coaches. Season 5 of The Ultimate Fighter was an absolute blast, featuring some of the best future lightweights to come, Nate Diaz, Gray Maynard, and Joe Luzon. After an exciting show, one of the best to be honest.
There, man.
People, when they see Andy Wang, they don't say, oh, he's a punk. They say, hey, man, this is a warrior.
BJ and Pulver were scheduled to face off at the Ultimate Fighter season final in June of 2007, and it didn't take long for him to not only get his revenge, but to do it in spectacular fashion. With the star getting a fantastic win in the lightweight division, there was only one place to go for BJ, and that was to the top. But we got some catching up to do with this weight class first. The UFC had gone around 10 events without lightweights between UFC 50 and 60, pretty much because of the fact that BJ and Uno drew in the contention for the lightweight throne. But they had returned the division in BJ's absence whilst he was at K1. Sean Shirk would go on to fight for the title against Kenny Florian at UFC 64, where he would win the belt, and then he would defend it once. But it was in that first defense of his title in July of 2007 that Shirk would test positive for PEDs. At the time, testing positive didn't mean an immediate stripping like it does now, and so a massive hearing took place for months to decide whether he had intentionally cheated or not. Because of how long this process was taking, the UFC put an interim title on the line for Joe Stevenson and BJ Penn, and this was to take place at the start of 2008. But in December of 2007, the decision was finally made to strip Shirk, meaning now that the January bout was going to be for the vacant championship.
Inside.
So bad news. The call won't start. Don't worry. I'll call my guy. So good news.
When you're craving calls, get your burger guy on the line. Five Guys.
The Metro Radio Arena, it's BJ Penn, Joe Stevenson. One man will lead with a belt around his waist. He's got the choke. Here we go. That's it. That's a wrap. It is all over. BJ Penn is the UFC lightweight champion.
The fight was electric. BJ drained the blood of Stevenson all over the canvas before strangling the life out of him, and then in celebration did the now legendary licking the blood off his gloves, an absolutely horrific thing to do. BJ was once again champion, and more importantly, a 2-division champion, the third in the entire history of the company. And no matter what from this point, he had cemented himself as one of the greatest combat sporting icons of the world, the fastest BJJ black belt, the first American to win a BJJ World Tournament, a welterweight UFC champion, and now a UFC lightweight world champion. But despite all of these accolades, there was still someone running their mouth.
I'm not afraid of BJ Penn. I think he has a couple big holes in his game, and I'm sure he thinks I got some in mine too. So
Shirk was going around telling everybody that I'm not the real champion. I fought for a fake championship, and he's still the real champion. He was getting upset that I kept telling everybody that he was a coward and all these things because he was taking steroids.
But BJ would make short work of him too, flying kneeing him at the end of the third round as the buzzer sounded. And then in one of the most badass things that I've ever seen in this sport, BJ waved off the fight himself, telling the ref that Shirk was done.
Wow, BJ called the fight. BJ Penn remains the lightweight champion.
But it was his post-fight interview that got everyone's attention.
You've talked many times in the past about having a rematch with George St. Pierre. What are your thoughts right now?
Do you want GSP? Do you want BJ Penn to fight GSP?
And that matchup was simply too damn good to pass up on. Poster boy versus poster boy, reigning champion versus reigning champion, which I believe is the first time to have ever actually happened in the UFC, a rematch of the split decision, and BJ's third shot at welterweight championship glory. Since beating BJ, GSP had been on an absolute tear, winning the welterweight championship, had a little slip up, and then working his way back to it again, defending it once against John Fitch. GSP had aged like fine wine, and so this fight wasn't going to be easy for BJ at all.
You got a big fight on the horizon. You had to wait a little while for GSP to heal up, but I think it's going to be, this one's big.
This is the kind of fight that you wait your whole career for.
BJ Penn has the potential to hold 2 belts. If he wins tomorrow night, will truly make him probably the best pound-for-pound fighter in mixed martial arts.
Yeah, they're both in their prime. They're both world champions. They're both 2 of the best athletes to ever compete in the sport, mentally, physically, emotionally in the right place, and they both want to finish each other.
It's your title that's on the line, George. It's not BJ's title. So if you lose a belt. If he loses, he's still got a belt at the 155 division.
When I walk in there to fight George, and there's just going to be one thing, just going to be constantly going through my head. To the death.
The mentality of the Hawaiian warrior mentality that he has, he means exactly what he says. He would rather die than lose.
He said a lot of bad things, you know, a lot of things that he have said, it's not nice about me.
Is this turning into a personal situation, or is it turning into a fact, you know what, I've got to make a statement in this fight?
It's nothing personal, it's business. You know?
If BJ can pull this fight off on Saturday night, he'll be the first guy in UFC history to hold 2 belts at the same time.
They both say we're the best in the world. You know, talk is cheap. Let's find out January 31st.
Penn would be dominated for 4 rounds straight, with the fight ultimately being called off by a doctor going into the 5th. BJ falling short in his career once more. But this fight is known for something far more controversial, a conspiracy that ripples through the MMA sphere to this very day. There is a reason why cutmen are now UFC employees, and that is because of Greasegate.
The situation with BJ Penn and GSP with the Vaseline incident in GSP's corner.
Controversy in the BJ Penn fight, a fight which he dominated. Greasegate.
I'm not saying GSP greased, I'm just saying he was slick. I didn't know what happened because I wasn't in the fight, so when you're in a fight, you don't realize what happened.
And not to say that what happened was George St. Pierre was intentional or anything.
Cheating is stealing, and you're stealing money off somebody's table, you're stealing food out of their mouths.
And I think BJ Penn, if you want to be a better fighter, you should have focused on things that he has the power to change.
Do I think that he got greased? Yeah, I do.
All right, check this out. Yeti just made the coolest technical pack I've ever seen. This is called the Scala. This is a 50-liter pack right here. So I can get into the sleeping bag if I need it through the front. It also has this additional zipper pocket on the outside. It's got 2 front stash pockets, extra large bottle pockets on the side. So I can either put a bottle in vertically like that, but I love the ability to put it on the side and I can access this without having to take the pack off. So I can just kind of rip this lid open. And then totally unique to this pack is the ability to open it from the front. This thing is fully adjustable. It has curvature on the harness, which spreads a ton of the weight out. I've been lucky to wear a lot of packs in my life and been a lot of places, and this is by far the most comfortable bag I've ever worn.
Absolutely 100% think that guy was rubbing grease on him. Do I think George was trying to cheat? Absolutely not.
The truth will always prevail and come out in the end.
Whilst it remains alleged, most people are absolutely convinced that this happened. There are tons of video on YouTube showing BJ slipping off of GSP whilst he played his offensive guard, confirming to most that George was in fact cheating. After the fight in the locker room, commissioners of the fight claimed that they had also caught GSP greasing during the fight, opening a legal case.
I saw him putting grease on his body. If you watch the second round, you'll notice
the effect that grease had on the body. Mr. Pierre was able to slip in and out of his guard.
Anyway, despite the evidence, the case was denied, snubbing BJ. Instead, the Hawaiian was forced to drop back down to defend his lightweight title.
I have to defend my UFC lightweight championship, and that will happen, I think, late July or early August.
BJ would defend his title 2 more times against the division's brightest and best, former title challenger Kenny Florian, who was on a 6-fight winning streak, and then Ultimate Fighter Season 1 winner Diego Sanchez. Both victories were just signature bloody and gutsy BJ Penn, Joe Rogan even declaring at the end of the Diego fight that BJ was the greatest lightweight that had ever lived.
That right there, ladies and gentlemen, is the greatest lightweight in the history of the sport.
And in most senses, this was actually true. Since losing to Gents, BJ had gone on an 8-year undefeated streak at lightweight, only losing in a division that he simply did not belong in. And even when you look at BJ, it was pretty clear that he probably didn't even belong at lightweight. He was always outsized, yet dug deep to win every victory. His fights were electric and brutal, and if his career had finished with the stoppage over Diego Sanchez, I think many people would look back and truly question what was possible for him, a similar sentiment that people share with Khabib. But as we know, this story doesn't end with glory. In BJ's 4th defense of the lightweight throne, he would be matched up against Frankie Edgar for a bout to take place at UFC 112. Frankie was a tenacious bulldog, having lost only 1 fight in his entire career. He had climbed to the pinnacle of the lightweight division and represented a fantastic challenge to BJ. Frankie was a superb wrestler and sharp enough on his feet. Although the New Jersey native was counted out, he would prove to be the pin that popped BJ's balloon.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 5 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards for decision. Doug Crosby scores the contest 50-45. Saudi Amato scores it 48-47. And Andy Roberts scores the contest 49-46 for the winner. And new UFC lightweight champion of the world, Frank
The fight was a back-and-forth slugfest, a grueling competition both on the feet and on the ground, and whilst many had thought BJ could have walked away the victor, it was ultimately Frankie that stole the strap, ending BJ's legendary streak at lightweight, and well, to be honest, irrevocably changing BJ's life forever. Many people mark this as the real end of BJ's career. A couple months later they would rematch, but it once again didn't go BJ's way. An even more dominant decision in this outing, then BJ would retire outside of the octagon, posting on his own website that it was time for him to hang up the gloves. To everyone's surprise, he would return 2 months later to face Matt Hughes, where he would put on an incredible performance. But to be fair to the performance, it was just 2 old guys at the tail end of their careers going at it in the cage. The win was simply a rose nestled amidst the thorns. BJ, already considering retirement, was half in, half out, and maybe that knockout gave him hope. I don't know. But that ambition would be drowned out with a draw against John Fitch.
Ladies and gentlemen, this bout is a majority draw.
And then a 3-round beatdown courtesy of Nick Diaz that left BJ busted and bruised. Most people were mortified to see the smacks that he took during that fight, and rightfully, in the cage, BJ retired from competition.
Joel, it's probably the last time you're ever going to see me in here. I can't keep, I want to perform at the top level. That's it, Joel.
But after spending almost a year on the sidelines recovering from the loss, BJ returned to take on up-and-coming young Canadian Rory McDonald in a fight that was simply difficult to watch. BJ was pieced up at every opportunity, losing by 30-26 on multiple scorecards, a complete lopsided victory, one in which he took countless punches to the head that he should never have been in there for to take. At this point, many people called for BJ to retire for real this time.
BJ is too tough for...
The wind is gusting so hard right now. The moment is at hand for JJ Spawn. Let's go, JJ! Back into the breeze. Go get it, Keegan.
It's good when everything depends on it. It's good Codex can be such a lifesaver on busy days. It's not only amazing at building things, Codex is also a great partner for everything else at work. For any task, it connects to all my favorite tools, and it knows when to pull from my issues, my emails, or from the hundreds of threads I have to catch up on. And the best part is, Codex can be proactive with automations. It runs common tasks for me in the background at a specific cadence. So I now wake up every day to what's most important and exciting to me. And I let Codex deal with all the busy work, like addressing comments on my PRs every hour. Codex keeps all of the context for me, and I really can't work without it anymore.
For his own good. But the shots that BJ took would have knocked out a normal human being. He's had his head bounced off the canvas like a basketball. BJ Penn has left that octagon looking like a fucking alien. He's taken a lot of damage, and I don't want to see him take any more.
It really was enough. And let's be honest, he had accomplished everything that he could in his career, already leaving a lasting legacy. This latest escapade up to welterweight was fruitless, and in an interview with Helwani, BJ Penn seemed a little lost after the defeat.
We haven't seen you in action since December. You kind of hinted that you were going to walk away. Give us an update. Are you going to come back, or are you done with MMA?
I'm still just hanging out. Honestly, at this moment, my guess is probably a little better than yours, but I don't know. I'm enjoying what I'm doing.
How did this all happen? How is BJ Penn and Frankie Edgar going down, and how at 145 pounds?
All of a sudden I get a text from BJ Penn. BJ Penn texts me and says, "Hey Dana, I want to fight Ben Henderson."
In September of 2013, it was announced that BJ would be returning after his brief hiatus. It was announced that he would be making his featherweight debut all the way down from his last fight at welterweight to first coach alongside Frankie Edgar on a season of The Ultimate Fighter, but then lock horns with Frankie in the summer of 2014. The move to featherweight did make sense for BJ. Frankie had already shown that this bared positive results for the smaller guys at lightweight. If BJ won the fight, I'd have no doubt that the UFC was setting up a shot for BJ at the featherweight throne. But as we know, this story doesn't get any better.
Edgar just continues to shift gears. Really putting the pressure on BJ Penn right now, landing shot after shot. And if BJ Penn doesn't work, Herb is going to stop this fight. Frankie Edgar finishes the legend BJ Penn.
After 3 brutal lopsided rounds, BJ would be stopped via TKO, and thankfully this time, he announced that he would be permanently retiring. The punishment that he had taken in the last 4 years since losing his title to Frankie back in 2010 was just uncalled for, and at every turn, people had asked him to quit. But I guess warriors don't see things the way that we do. It's why we love them, I guess, but it's also hard to watch.
This is the end. I'm thinking to myself, why did you step back in the octagon after the beating that Rory McDonald gave you? You know.
He's one of the best 155-pounders of all time. He built that weight class. He built that weight class, and he was responsible for helping build the UFC. That's his legacy.
4 years after losing his title, BJ stepped back from the fight game, lamented as one of the few men that helped shape the UFC, a legacy that many fighters will never have. A brave warrior amidst the few, retiring with a record of 16-10-2. His last few fights, absolute brutal wars that, more than likely, would have taken years off of his life. And now he saw that there was no path forward in the fight game, not unless he was willing to take unnecessary life-altering punishment. And so that was it. A year later, he was rightfully inducted into the Hall of Fame, a perfect punctuation point on one of the greatest combat careers the sporting world had ever known.
And the number one people I gotta thank, made it all possible, is the fans. Thank you guys. I love you guys. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Except, we know that this story doesn't end on a high note. A year and a half after his exit from the sport, BJ was lured back to the bloody waters of MMA, the siren song of violence, calling him to wade deep into the waters of combat. A story told too many times, men half in, half out, that offer themselves up to
Yo, what's up? Sorry, I was kind of just chilling for a second. What's up, Puerto Rican Ashley? Fuck you! It's been a while since I've seen your ass. Pendejo, Maricons 823. What's up, Denzel? The fuck does dude think he's famous? I am famous. Andrew Gorniak. Y'all motherfuckers. I'm just chilling over here on the fucking mattress and shit. You guys want to come in right when I'm like half asleep? Motherfuckers. I gotta do a fucking bibliography. It should be quick. I'll do it in like 2 seconds. Unless I get... Ooh. Eight sources? You have to have 8 fucking sources? Are you fucking with me? I only got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5. I need like 3 more. Whatever. I'll find a fucking thing. Sorry, I'm writing some shit right now. My bad. Oops. Then put the heading. 8 sources in alphabetical order by last name. Please not separate primary and secondary sources. Be sure to use a heading indent for all the bibliography. Include 3-sentence annotation for each source explain. Yay! Alright. Citation machine. Let's go. Fuck, I don't know, dude. There's like several of them. Winthrop Danger. Oh shit. Will donate for booty. Fuck you. Fucking weirdo. Hanging and he hate me real bad. I do. Fuck you. Fucking freak. Why is it being like that? Open the paragraph settings dialog box. Go to the indentation section. Hanging from the special drop-down menu. The fuck? What the fuck? Highlight your citations, open the paragraph settings dialog box, go to the indentation section. Oh, here we go. Okay. Well, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fucking obnoxious shit. Whatever. How have you been? I've been fine. I'm tired. About to go to sleep after I finish this thing for homework. Ugh. Do you read? Yeah. Yes, I do. Insert annotation. Oh. Hope off to bed you go. Yeah, in a second. I'm done with this shit. mute. What the fuck was the book called? Textbook. One, two, three, four, 5, 6. So the last two have to be those. let's do this seriously. I can do this shit. Alright, that's in there. 1, 2, 3. I'm not going to use that one. In fact, I'm not going to use any of these. We're going to have to just start from scratch. That's fine. 1, 2, 3. One, 2, 3, 4. So we got 2 and 2. Need 2 more of those. 2 more of those. That's it. Oh shit! I gotta save it. next. There you go. Easy peasy. Just guy feet. Bro, go fuck yourself. Honestly, you need to get the fuck out of my stream. Stop being a fucking faggot. Get the fuck out of here. Nobody fucking likes you. I'm just gonna do this off stream.